Hillary Clinton is set to speak alongside her husband tonight in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Bill Clinton's election. The event coming amid increasing controversy surrounding the Uranium One deal. President Trump and other Republicans calling for a special counsel investigation into Hillary Clinton's role in the deal, which gave Russia control of 20% of America's uranium supply. Clinton calls the whole thing a political stunt.
This is such an abuse of power, and it goes right at the rule of law. If they send a signal that we're going to be like some dictatorship, some authoritarian regime where political opponents are going to be unfairly, fraudulently investigated, that rips at the fabric of the contract we have, that we can trust our justice system.
Joining us now, Stephen Mulroy, former Special Assistant U.S. Attorney, the Eastern District of Virginia, and now law professor at the University of Memphis. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Leland.
You hear this sort of intense rhetoric from Hillary Clinton. She's not really brushing this off and going, oh, this is no big deal. She's sort of actively getting angry about it. Does that show in one way or another that perhaps she's a little worried?
Leland, I don't know if it necessarily shows that she's worried. I just think that means that she's angered that the president is going after a former political opponent, as she said. I think the important thing to remember here is that discussion of a special counsel seems a little bit of a stretch. You normally use special counsel for a conflict of interest situation where the investigation might lead to a high-ranking administrative official, so you're afraid that regular Department of Justice or FBI officials might not be sufficiently aggressive. I don't think we have that here. There's certainly no indication that they would be reluctant to go after Hillary Clinton. So it seems like regular Department of Justice and FBI procedures would probably suffice here.
So why this discussion of a special prosecutor? In some ways, we heard the Attorney General kind of bat that down and say, I would only have a special prosecutor if I felt there was reasons for one. You're alluding to the idea that there's not reasons for one. Flip that around, though. Is there perhaps a reason, if you are the Justice Department, and obviously the Justice Department is led by the Attorney General, who's appointed by the President, is there a reason perhaps to appoint a special prosecutor to avoid exactly the kind of defense that Hillary Clinton seems to be lining up?
I think I see what you're saying. In order to combat perhaps allegations that the Trump administration is out to get Hillary Clinton, you try to appoint a special counsel so that it appears to be independent. I think that's an interesting, argument and theory. I think one thing, though, is there has to be sufficient evidence to begin an investigation in the first place, whether it's a special counsel investigation or a regular DOJ FBI investigation. And as your network's Shepard Smith, I think, ably reported a couple of days ago, it doesn't look like there's much there. State Department was just one of 9 agencies that approved this deal, along with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The law didn't allow Russia to actually export the uranium, so national security risks seem a little bit stretched here. And of course, there doesn't seem to be any actual evidence that she was personally involved in the decision. So I think you have to put that into the mix as well.
The flip side of that, though, is that there were so and remain so many questions about the Clinton Foundation, about the funding, how they were raising money, who they were raising money from, whether or not Hillary Clinton really recused herself from everywhere and everything, that there were potential conflicts. The Clintons learned firsthand that what a special counsel begins to look at and what the end charges are often two very different things. What the end problems are often two very different things. Is there a reason for them to be worried here in perhaps sort of the language we're hearing from them that is so vitriolic is because they don't want anyone looking into them?
Well, Leland, whenever you've got the President of the United States talking about going after you, whenever you've got people in Congress talking about a special counsel to be appointed who would have no other job but just to investigate them, right? Like they've already been through this with Kenneth Starr in 1998. Mr. Trump is going through it right now. I think anybody would have to be worried. I mean, no sane person could avoid being a little bit nervous when anyone's talking about that. As to whether there's enough evidence to warrant the investigation, I think we just need to wait and see.
Well, we know there's a lot of people looking into that for sure. Professor, appreciate your time, sir. As always, we'll have a little bit more on the Clinton speech at 5:30 p.m. coming up. We'll see if they answer any questions about this or face them. That would be news in and of itself. Appreciate it, sir.
Right.
Julie?
Thank you.